Hey everyone, and welcome to my guide to heirloom items in World of Warcraft. Heirloom items are a special type of item, and in this video we're going to be talking about what they are, where and how to get them, and some strategies for how I think you should go about using them when you first start out getting into them. So here to help me talk about what heirloom items are, I've got a nice model here, my super naked warrior top chef, and he's going to be demonstrating, how these heirloom items are going to work. So what are heirloom items? Heirloom items are a special type of items composed of armor, weapons, trinkets, rings, and things like that you can acquire, and when you acquire them, they go into your collections tab. Now, you can get to your collections tab by hitting Shift P, and that's the place where you're able to see your mounts, your pets, your toys, your appearances, and there's also a tab for heirlooms. Now, when you first open this up, it can be kind of overwhelming. There are over 6 different pages of different items, and they have different sources and different things you have to do in order to acquire these items, but we'll get around to how you do that and how to narrow down and hone in on exactly what you want a little bit later. For now, let's just talk about what an heirloom does and why you should care about it. Now, most people use heirloom items for leveling their alts. The reason for this is heirloom items do have some requirements in order for you to purchase them, and to purchase them they do cost a significant amount of gold. Then to continue using them at higher levels you have to invest even more gold. So on a brand new character you may not have enough gold to go ahead and purchase these items. So once you have a character at max level or pretty close and you're able to earn a pretty decent amount of gold, then you can go back, buy these heirloom items, spin them, equip them on your alts, and use them to level your alts faster. Well, how does that work, right? Heirloom items, when purchased, they go into your collections tab here, and then they are account bound. They're accessible to all characters on your account. So once you acquire, for example, this Burnished Helm of Might, this is an heirloom item that I have purchased, I can now go to any character on my account, go into my collections tab, I can create this item and they can equip it. So all I have to do is go into my collections tab, pick the item that I want, right click it, my character is going to create it, it's going to go into my bag, and now I can equip it. So now I have a nice heirloom helmet on Top Chef here. Let's see if we can get him some more clothes. We've got some shoulders, we'll make those. We'll go ahead and make him a back piece. We're going to make him a chest piece. Make sure he's got some pants. You can see we're filling all of the major item slots here. We've also got weapons, trinkets, and rings and things like that. So let's put some clothes on him. There we go. He's all heirloomed out now. Now, so what do these items actually do? Why do you want to use them on your alts? Well, first of all, these items scale. They scale from level 1 up to level 110 if they are fully upgraded. And we'll talk about upgrades in just a minute. So what this means is that when you first log into a brand new, fresh character you've never played before, right as soon as you load in, after you've seen your little introductory cutscene, you can open up your collections tab, you can create all these items just like I did here, and your level 1 character can have a full set of pretty good quality gear right away, and you could start leveling and questing with the benefits of those improved stats. Because if you've leveled your first character, then you start out with some pretty horrendous gear, and you get excited when you pick up a new white weapon that has better damage than the one you were using. This is giving you items that actually have stats like strength, stamina, intellect, agility. So right out the gate, your character is already more powerful. So being more powerful means that you are able to kill enemies faster, you're able to complete your quest faster, and that's fantastic. So that's one of the big reasons to use these heirloom items on your alts, to get that full set of gear pretty quickly right when you start the game. Now, the other huge thing with heirloom items, and the reason that people are so crazy for them, is because certain pieces of gear will give you an experience increase on your character. Now, if you look at this helmet that I'm hovering over right now, you can see all the way down there in the green, it says equip. Experience gained is increased by 10%. So, as long as your character has this helmet on and it's scaled appropriately to their level, then they will get 10% increased bonus experience from everything that they do. This is killing enemies, doing PvP battles, turning in quests, discovering areas, collecting, gathering resources like herbs or mining. When those give you experience, all that stuff, you get a 10% increase in experience gained from all those activities. Now, the bonuses for heirloom items also stack together. So you have several pieces: the headpiece, shoulder piece, chest piece, and the legs all give you 10% experience increase a piece. So if you have all 4 of those heirlooms equipped, then you get a 40% increase to your experience gains. The back piece gives you a 5% increase, so now we're up to 45, and there is a ring that you can acquire that I don't personally have, a couple of rings that will give you another 5% increase. So you can get up to a total of 50% increased experience from all your activities by using heirloom items if you have the full complete set. Now, that's huge for leveling your characters, because now you're leveling 50% faster. And when you have 110 levels to go through, that makes a pretty big difference. On top of that, having this gear scale with you means that you don't have to worry about, did I get, a helmet upgrade? Did I get a shoulder upgrade? Not to mention, you don't really get shoulder drops very early on in the game either. So you've got a piece of gear right from the start that you normally don't get for 15, 20 levels most of the time, giving you those extra stats. So it's really great. And the next thing you need to know about heirloom items is how they upgrade. Because I've been saying, as long as they're scaled to your level, they scale up to 110 with some caveats. By default, when you buy a piece of heirloom gear, it's going to scale from level 1 to 60. Once you hit level 60, you no longer gain the experience bonus, and the stats will no longer increase beyond what they are. So if you have a piece of gear on, like say I have this helmet on, you can see on my character that it's still item level 61. It still has 16 strength, 24 stamina, 22 haste, like really, really low values, and that experience gained is not going to be given to my character. So what you have to do to these heirlooms to make them viable at higher levels is you have to upgrade them. You do this by buying an upgrade token, which you then use on the item to upgrade its level. If you look at this helmet, on the third line down, you can see heirloom upgrade level 0 of 3. So this means that I haven't upgraded this item at all. Now, if we look at another piece of gear, like this, the Preen Tribal War Feathers, you can see that I have this at heirloom upgrade level 1 of 3. Now, this allows the item to scale all the way up to level 90. So that first upgrade gets you another 30 levels of scaling for this particular item. But you have to do that to every single piece of gear that you get, and that costs gold. You have to buy an upgrade token for every single one of the pieces of gear that you want to scale to the next tier of levels. After this, upgrading it to the second level will make it scale all the way up to level 100, and then the final upgrade level, when you have it at 3 of 3, will allow that item to scale all the way up to level 110. So getting a full set of heirloom gear is an investment primarily of gold. So they do get quite expensive, but if you're an altaholic or you just want to really speed up the leveling process for a particular character, maybe you want a second main or something like that, then this is a great way to increase the overall speed of leveling with a decent gold investment. But what's your alternative, right? So it's there for you, and then once you've made that gold investment on a set of gear, you can then use that on other characters. So if you're smart, you can actually use these to level multiple characters. And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we get into the strategy for starting to get into the heirloom gear. Okay, so we know what heirloom gear is. It's a special type of gear that's account bound. It goes into your collections tab. You can create it at any time. And just to show you, I can delete this helmet. Boom, it's gone. And I could just make another one and equip it. Now note that heirloom items are not sellable, so you can't just, create a whole bunch of these and earn all the gold in the world. But so you can create them over and over again. They scale with your level. They provide your character with an experience bonus, and you can use them as soon as you log on and create a character. So now that we know what they are, let's talk about where you get them from and how. Alright, so there are several places where you can buy heirlooms from. However, there is a main heirloom vendor for both factions. If you're on the Alliance side, then your vendor is going to be located in Ironforge, back here in the Hall of Explorers. If you're on the Horde side, then your vendor is going to be located in Orgrimmar, up here on top of the main gate. However, if you haven't played through the initial sequence in Battle for Azeroth, which I won't spoil here, then this vendor is going to be located in the Undercity in the Rogue's Quarter. It's the same exact NPC. You're looking for Estelle Gendry. These heirloom vendors are the main ones, and they sell a lot of the heirloom items. So we're going to take a quick look at what they have available and how much it costs. Now, for a piece of heirloom armor, you're usually looking at 500 gold to purchase the basic version of that item. Most of your weapons are going to be 650 or 750 gold a piece. After that, you've got trinkets and offhands and shields and things. The offhands and shields are 500 gold. The trinkets and neck pieces, that kind of stuff, is 700 gold a piece. So it's a pretty hefty investment to get some of these items. But the big investment comes in the upgrades. So let's say that I were to purchase this, tattered Dreadmist mantle. It would cost me 500 gold, and it would scale from level 1 to 60. If I wanted to upgrade it to scale to level 90, then I would need to buy an ancient heirloom armor casing, which cost 1,000 gold. So now I'm up to 1,500 gold for one item to use it all the way up to level 90. Then if I want to use it to level 100, I have to buy the Time Worn heirloom casing for 2,000 gold. So now we're at 3,500 gold. Then if I want it to scale to 110, I have to buy the Weathered heirloom armor casing for 5,000 gold. So we're looking at 8,500 gold for a single piece of heirloom gear that will scale from level 1 to 110. For weapons, the prices are significantly higher. So if you want a weapon that's going to scale from 1 to 110, you're looking at an even higher investment of gold in order to purchase that item and scale it all the way up. So what can you purchase here at the main vendors? You can get your shoulder pieces, you can get your chest pieces, and then you can get weapons, offhands, necklaces, trinkets. For the other items, you're going to need to go to a different vendor. The next type of vendor that you can purchase heirloom items from is the guild vendor. You can find guild vendors in each of the main capital cities, and their exact location can be seen by talking to a city guard. Guild vendors sell a variety of items that you can purchase as you earn reputation with your guild, and as your guild unlocks different achievements. In terms of heirlooms, the guild vendors sell the back pieces and the helmets. In order to acquire these, you need to be friendly with your guild. So a quick way that you can do that is to get one of the guild tabards that will increase the reputation that you gain with your guild. You'll gain reputation just from turning in quests and things like that. It's pretty easy, pretty passive to do. If you don't have a guild and you want to be able to access these heirloom pieces, just hop into any one of the number of guilds guilds that are recruiting, chances are they've got the right achievements unlocked for you to be able to get whatever kind of items you need. You can just earn the reputation that you want, build up, and then once you're good, you can leave that guild if you want to, or stick around because maybe you've made some friends, who knows. The next type of vendor you can purchase heirlooms from is the PvP vendor. These can be found in the PvP centers in your faction's main capital. For the Alliance, you're looking at the Champions Hall here in Old Town in Stormwind, and for the Horde, you're going to be going over to Orgrimmar, where you will go to the Valley of Spirits right here at the Hall of Legends. These vendors will allow you to exchange marks of honor for pieces of heirloom gear. They have the trinkets, shoulder pieces, some weapons, and then they do have some of the upgrades. They have the base level upgrades for the different heirloom armor to get them to scale up to level 90 as well. Finally, there are several other vendors you can purchase heirlooms from, but they are usually tied to some sort of limited event like the Darkmoon Fair, so they're not always up, and I'm not going to cover all of those in the video because there are quite a few. I will, however, include a link to Wowhead's guide on heirlooms, which will cover the locations of all those different vendors and what you could do with them in the description below, so feel free to check that out if you want. The vendors we've talked about have covered the ones that are constantly there and the ones that I think are the most useful to you as you get started out purchasing your heirlooms. So the next thing we're going to talk about is two very special heirlooms that aren't pieces of equipment. The first one is located at your main heirloom vendor. This is a map. There are actually two different maps. They have different names depending on your faction, but they effectively do the same thing. The first one will unlock several flight points for your faction around the Eastern Kingdoms. It costs 10,000 gold. The second one will unlock several flight points around Kalimdor. Now, those are the main continents that you're going to be leveling in the early levels of the game, and this will ensure that when you first start out, you're going to have those flight points unlocked to you. This is going to allow you to travel back and forth much faster. And once you unlock these, it becomes a toy that you can use, which then becomes account bound, and you can unlock those flight points on all your characters in the future. The next item that you can get is from an achievement called Heirloom Hoarder. If you collect 35 heirlooms, it doesn't matter which ones they are, it doesn't matter if they're upgraded all the way or not, you just need to acquire 35 of them. This will unlock the heirloom mount for you. The heirloom mount is a chauffeured motorcycle. The appearance and stuff is different depending on your faction, and essentially what this is it's a mount that you can use right away from level 1. It doesn't give you the full speed bonus of a traditional mount, but it does give you a much faster boost to your speed. As you can see, I'm moving quite a bit faster than if I were just walking, and this gives you the ability to have a mount right from level 1. So you have to invest the gold to get the 35 different heirlooms, but once you do, you're able to use this on your characters, and this increases your time to, or decreases your time to level pretty significantly. Alright, the final thing to talk about here is strategy. And you may be wondering, what? Strategy? Heirlooms? What are you talking about? Well, heirlooms do require a hefty investment of gold. So, unless you're gonna, earn a lot of gold through the auction house, or maybe purchase a WoW token to sell for a significant amount of gold, and even if you are, you still need to be smart about how you spend your gold. Now, personally for me, heirlooms are all about the experience bonus and decreasing the time it takes to level my alts from level 1 all the way up to max. So for me, I don't particularly care about the stats. It's really hard, I think, to die as you level unless you're just playing in a manner that doesn't really suit your particular class or specialization. So I'm really not too worried about the stats of the item itself. What I'm worried about is that experience bonus. So here's what I did when I first started buying heirlooms. I ignored all the armor types that were specific to my particular class that I was leveling. And what I did is I purchased all cloth items. So I purchased the Tattered Dreadmist Mask. I purchased the Exquisite Sunderseer Mantle. I got any of the cloaks, it doesn't matter because every character can use them. And then for the chest piece, I got the Tattered Dreadmist robe. For the pants, I got the Tattered Dreadmist leggings. So what this did is this gave me a set of armor that I could equip on every single character that I was leveling, because all characters, no matter what their class is, are able to equip cloth items. So if I was leveling a warrior, I didn't buy the plate armor initially. I bought the cloth armor. Why? Because if I had purchased the plate armor and then the next character that I wanted to level was, say, a rogue, they couldn't use that because they can't equip plate. However, if I purchased that cloth heirloom gear right away, then I was able to make sure that any character that I wanted to could equip that gear and get the experience bonus from it right away. And as I was able to build up more money and build up more funds, then I started investing that gold into getting other types of gear that were different, like leather or plate or mail. And for me, I leveled a lot of leather characters using heirlooms, so I started to invest heavily into getting the leather gear up next. Most of my plate characters I kind of leveled anyway. They were my main characters or something, so I didn't invest too heavily in that. So what I suggest is that if you're confident in your ability to play your character without dying, even if it feels like maybe you don't quite have the best gear, invest in the cloth gear first, because you can use it for every single class in the game. That's going to save you a lot of gold, and it's going to ensure that you can get that bonus on as many classes as possible right away. Next, I don't worry at all about getting heirloom weapons. The cost to purchase them, the cost to upgrade them, I think is just really not worth it. It's much more efficient for you to go to the auction house and just find a green weapon that's better than the one that you have. Pay, a couple hundred gold or something, use it until you feel like it's not doing what it needs to, go back to the auction house and do that again. That's better than spending, 10,000 plus gold on a weapon that you're gonna, equip one time. And also, because classes are very different in terms of what weapons they can equip, there's not a whole lot of weapons that are both usable on most of the classes and good for most of those classes. I think it's better to have like the wrong type of armor on than it is to try to play, a character with a weapon that they shouldn't be playing with or is not optimal for their particular specialization. Next, I did make sure that I could get the trinkets, but I only used the trinkets from 1 to 60. After that, you usually have acquired some sort of trinket from your quest, or you'll get them as you level up. I got the initial trinkets and neck pieces just so I could have a trinket and neck piece right away at level 1 so that I can get those increased stats and kill things even faster. Now, if you want to take the time to acquire one of the rings, then I recommend that you do that. If you're already kind of into one of the things that is required in order to get a ring. And once again, I'm not going to cover exactly how you get all those rings, but you can check out the Wowhead guide, and that has all the stuff that you'll need to know in order to acquire one. I didn't bother with it because I didn't want to go and do that content for another 5% experience increase. I was fine with just getting 45% increased experience as I leveled up my character as opposed to that extra 5%. Now, for me personally, I already have all the classes at max level. I don't feel the need to level more characters, so I probably won't go back and get this ring. But if you're just getting started in leveling a bunch of characters and a bunch of alts, then, that 5% increased experience will make a pretty big difference. Also, when you are able to with your gold, I would recommend that you go ahead and try to get to the 35 heirlooms that you need in order to unlock the mount that you can use from level 1. That really does speed up the leveling process, and it's just so nice to have when you first start leveling a character. I personally have not bothered with getting the map heirlooms. They cost 10,000 gold a piece, and for 10,000 gold, I could get 20 heirlooms, which puts me more than half of the way towards getting that mount. So I would recommend that you leave off on getting these unless you just have excess gold and you really want access to the flight points. I've never had a problem with leveling my characters without having these maps, and to me they're just more of a convenience thing rather than something that is actually really going to help you speed up your process. And because of the way that level scaling works, I feel that they're even less valuable now because they were more valuable when you were having to constantly leave zones because you would out-level them and you weren't getting experience. Now, since you're able to stay in a single zone and just play it until it's completely done if you want to, it's not that big of a deal if you're moving on to another zone, a lot less frequently than you used to, because that's 5 minutes to travel to a next zone, maybe every 5 levels, as opposed to traveling to a new zone every 2 levels and taking 5 minutes. So I don't think the maps are a great investment. So to recap on my strategy, focus on getting the cloth items first, get those leveled up so that you have a full set that you can use from level 1 to 110. Throw those on your characters, do the best job you can. As you start earning more gold, then invest into the other armor classes for the characters that you think you're going to want to play a lot of. If you know you want to level a rogue, a monk, and a druid, start investing into the leather gear. If you know you want a hunter and a shaman, start investing into the mail gear. Go from there, because then you'll know that if you randomly decide that you want to level a paladin instead, you still have something that you can equip on that character. Or if you want to level a mage, then you've got a set you can equip on that character as well. Don't worry about the weapons unless you just really want to. I think the cost to level them up is incredibly prohibitive. Go ahead and grab the trinkets and the neck pieces, but I really wouldn't worry about leveling them past 60 because they don't give you experience and you're bound to find better items as you're questing anyway. Take the time to get the ring if you are already interested in the activities that will let you do that, and then work your way towards getting the mount for collecting 35 heirlooms, because that will speed up your leveling process from 1 to 20 when you can actually get your first real mount. That's the guide. Hopefully it's helped you out. If it has, throw me a like. Feel free to throw a subscription as well. As I'm making this video, I'm trying to work up to 500 subscribers. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a great time in World of Warcraft, and I'll see you on the next video.